I'm still getting people up in here. Um, I'm gonna set it up, and then I am going to kick it off to other people as I get going. Um, we're not gonna be here all day. I got a show to do, and I got rehearsal. For those of you listening later on, I got my this is a Twitter space, and I have my my documentary premiere is bigger than hip hop, the Black American Music Family Tree, debuting 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks damn near to the hour. 2 weeks at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Documentary short to where we gonna really get into music history, and then I have a live stream Q&A that I'm going to follow the documentary with, so you guys can ask questions and all that shit. So yeah, you guys can ask questions, and so all that stuff is coming, all right. And then also for those of you here in LA, along with it, that's what I'm doing online and through the digital world. In the real life, human physical world, I got a live music night starting November 8th, Wednesday, November 8th, and every other Wednesday. It's gonna be first and third Wednesday starting in December. This month it's on second and fourth Wednesday, but starting in December for every first and third Wednesday at Senator Jones in Santa Monica, 2020 Santa Monica Boulevard, Wilshire Boulevard in Santa Monica. Me on the mic, Jashina Arnold singing, and all kind of crazy ass surprise musicians and celebrity singing guests that you got to be there to find out who gonna show up, and also live up and coming singers that you may or may not have heard of making their way up in music. So we're taking this mission to the real world too. Creating a room and an environment for the real musicians, the real people who create music, the ones who are behind the instruments. So it's a full on movement. But we about to get started on why the culture is bigger than hip hop. Um, welcome everybody again. What am I mean when I say the culture is bigger than hip hop? Well, first before I get into it, welcome Eve. Did you have anything you want to start off with? Even say anything before I get into it?
Peace to one, peace to the room. I think it's really cool what you and Tashina are about to get started. I think we are going to try to make it out there for one of those Wednesdays. So I'm very excited about that. And then, as far as the topic, I'm very interested in what people have to say. The culture is bigger than hip hop. Absolutely, it is bigger than hip hop. We are not a monolith, and they do try to put, a blanket statement for us, like we're only supposed to be doing one thing when we're the originators for a lot of different things. So I'm interested in the conversation, and I can't wait to hear what people have to say.
Yeah, so yeah. No, I appreciate it. That'd be great. Come on out to LA. I'll make sure you. I make sure. I make you. If you came out to Eve at the LA Eve, I'll make sure you got the VIP section. You dig? Come on out. Um, for the rest of you niggas, I don't go for y'all, but yeah, that go for Eve. The rest of you niggas have to pay for the VIP section. Anyway, um, it's all love. I'm gonna make my money though. Um, so yeah, the culture is bigger than hip hop. What? Here's the reason why I'm doing this tonight. Not tonight, today. We're having this discussion. I was yesterday. I was at a friend's birthday party, a fellow comedian friend of mine, and his former manager was there. And his former manager was somebody who 10 years ago, no one really fucked with me like that when it comes to comedy. The audiences fucked with me. I've never been. I can't name more than I can't. I've never bombed. One time I bombed one time at a show, and that's when it was a Christmas show. It was a Christmas party, and I did not know that Al Sharpton's network, the National Action Network, they were having their Christmas party at this place I was doing a show. And I got on stage and I had a new joke that I was working out. It wasn't quite refined yet, but I had a joke where I talk about President Obama. And I talk and it's a very intelligent joke, but I was like only like 2 years into comedy at the time, and I lost my place. And when you that new into comedy, to recover from that space is a monumental task. And so I went up there I was like, yeah, you know what, man, fuck President Obama. And this is 2011, 2012 era, before the reelection campaign, before Trayvon Martin. This is pre Trayvon Martin, 2012. And I said, man, fuck Obama. Little did I know it was a National Action Network Christmas party. And then I have another punchline to that joke that I started working out then that I still say sometimes. And I was like, you know what? I am the Al Sharpton of fat people. It just looks like I represent them. I really don't fuck with them niggas. And it got quiet as a church mouse. And I saw other people around. I look in the audience. I saw people like laughing, but they were holding their laugh in. They didn't want to laugh out loud. And everyone else was just looking at me like I slapped Jesus. Little did I know that was the National Action Network Christmas party. The only fucking time I bombed. But I said outside of that, I don't bomb. But these comedy clubs, these comedians, they were not fucking with your boy. You know what I mean? And I said that to say, last night I was at a birthday party, and this one manager who managed a bunch of comedians here in LA. Um, my brand was known as too militant and too pro black 10 years ago. I was too pro black. Y'all know, people who in here, y'all know, wasn't that many people on that pro black tip in 2012, 2013. Niggas were still happy with niggas at that time still thought Obama being president meant something. And so I was an outlier. And so the manager from that former comedy comedian manager, he came to me and apologized to me for and said that he had it all wrong about me back then. That I was right and he was wrong, and he gave me a heartfelt apology and all that shit. Why am I saying all this? After he had that, we had that apology. We talked. No, I don't hold on to grudges. So I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Um, we started talking about the documentary and the music. And he's one of these mulatto, melungeon ass niggas, you know what I mean? And not no disrespect to you light skinned niggas, you Christopher Williams ass niggas, no disrespect to y'all. But half of y'all, the ones, especially if you got a white mom, got some major identity issues. You culturally, like you've been around black, you can't be white. You love our music, you love our culture, you love everything about us. So you really do lean real hard to your black hand side. But a lot of these cats still got white mommy issues. And his comment to me was a I'm so glad he asked me these questions. And he said, how are we going how am he said we got the story out there about hip hop being created at Cedrick Avenue by Cool Herc. He was like, I see your documentaries about telling a lot of truth, and I get the truth, but how are we going to get people to believe it? Do you think that people is like he's like, there's no way in hell you're gonna change the way people view hip hop? And my answer to him was, the truth has a funny way of clearing out a lot of bullshit. We supposed to believe that Columbus discovered America. But to anybody with a brain, you realize after a certain while that that's some bullshit. And so the purpose of the documentary is for those that have a brain, those who see, to expand and give them more knowledge and show them, not tell them, but show them Columbus didn't discover America. Show them hip hop is bigger, is a black cultural thing, not just something that happened at a cool heart party. That's the monumental task that we have in front of us. But it's going to happen because everything that we say when we talk about our black history, when we talk about our hip hop history, even if you don't know mentally, you know spiritually, you know through your DNA, you know intrinsically. I'll say certain things that you heard before, but it's something in your spirit that resonates with it, and you know it's right. Resonates with you better than anything you heard in goddamn school or anything you'll ever hear on MTV. You know what I mean? And that's what we're tapping into with this project, because we got to know that when you limit it to hip hop, limiting our cultural influence, our culture itself, because people say, well, hip hop is just is black culture, and it is black culture. But when you keep it in just hip hop, that's the equivalent. That's literally like the of identifying someone's whole being, everything about their personality type, in their right toe. Yeah, the right pinky toe is the pinky toe is very important. Fuck your pinky toe up and see if you can't walk straight. You need them toes. You need them feet. I ain't, it's very important that you have them toes and them feet. But approaching black culture and black music through the lens of just hip hop, that would be like looking at a total human being, a total human body, pointing to the pinky toe and saying, that's what that person is. Yes, that toe is a part of the totality of that person, but it's not who that person is. And you're never going to get a clear understanding of someone by just pointing at their pinky toe. You got to get a full, the doctor got to look at everything else on the body. You know what I mean? And that's what it is when it comes to our body of music, our body of culture, our body of dance, the way we get down. It's much bigger in hip hop. And we're going to explain that in the documentary. And I will get into some details today explaining that. So I'm opening myself up to questions from y'all, comments from y'all, and we're going and as you guys ask questions and make comments, um Eve is here to co-host. Respect the rules we lay out. I'm gonna have my man Breeze speak first. I got great black shark. What's up, dog? You gonna speak too. But yeah, I want y'all questions, leave y'all comments, and we're gonna discuss why the culture is bigger than hip hop. Eve, before I go to Breeze, you the co-host, say what you gotta say, then we're gonna kick it on over to Breeze.
Much appreciated, Breeze. I know he's not gonna do anything crazy, and I know Great Black Shark is also not gonna be crazy. But to the rest of y'all, um, sometimes me and Dewan we might soapbox for a little bit. That's our prerogative. That's what we will do sometimes. And y'all like it, so don't be mad. But you guys, if you could keep it to like a 2 minutes, you can definitely come back up and speak. So please don't think that, if we've landed your plane for you, it's because we all got it. But maybe you have a new point. You can come back up and speak. That's no problem. But to Breeze, the mic is yours, dear. Welcome to the stage.
Salute to my good brother Dewan B, my lovely sister Just Eve. What's good? Great Black Shark, New Black Archive Media. I just want to say what you are doing right now, you and Tariq are doing is phenomenal. This shit should have been done like a while ago, but I appreciate too LA brothers for doing it. I mean, I know Tariq ain't really straight from because we know the Detroit situation, all that went on. But I appreciate y'all. This is like reawakening those of us who was kind of like the Walking Dead for a minute, thinking that everything because of the Pan Africanism and all that weird stuff. But I really appreciate you, brothers. I'm tapped into both of you. This is going to be like a precedent that y'all setting right here, and we're going to be able to clean up a whole lot of mess. And I got my janitor outfit, and I got my tool time. And yo, I'm ready with y'all, brothers. Y'all bringing it what we needed, and I appreciate this so much, and I respect you so much. I can't wait till y'all come back to DC and everybody we turn this shit up. But yo, this is definitely needed right now, and they feeling the pressure, brother. So I appreciate y'all so much for that, and I'm gonna land my plane.
Yes, sir. But I appreciate you, man. And I also know that I want to send a shout out to Breeze and also everybody else in general. One thing I appreciate outside of a knucklehead here and there, ain't been nobody trying to compare and compete, put up no competition between what I got going on and what Tariq got going on. I'm loving the fact that everyone clearly understands that these are two distinctly different, distinctly separate projects that are both necessary, covering different aspects of our history and our music. And we could do 1,000 more of these documentaries on our music and still have an infinite amount of space for somebody else to come in and give their perspective on it because we need multiple perspectives. We're multiple perspectives of vulturism. You had look at what they've been doing so far. Hip hop, they got Dougie Fresh out there. I went to go see a hip hop and Basquiat event a couple months ago. Basquiat didn't even fuck with hip hop like that. He was around white boys. You know what I mean? He did one thing he did was use on the hip hop album cover, and they trying to plug him in. Dougie Fresh was going around saying hip hop is Caribbean. Fat Joe's going around saying hip hop is Latin. Busta Rhymes is saying it's Caribbean. Pete Rock is saying it's Jamaican. And you got that hip hop and Latin that MSC, not MSC, MB had a hip hop Latino hip hop little bullshit ass 30-minute documentary with John Leguizamo. Um, you see all of these different points of view that people, no one is saying one person owns the right of the point of view of the vulture. The vultures are coming from all angles. They're coming from Vlad. They're coming from uh, these Amazon, these Netflix specials. They're coming from all over the place. People are giving different points of view on how on how to fuck us over and take away our music. So as Black Americans, we need multiple points of view on our lineage, on our cultural creations. We need as many points of views as possible. Because going back to how my monologue and how I started it, dealing with that former comedy club manager that I had that conversation with, he asked, "How you gonna change the narrative?" I said, "One motherfucker at a time. That's how. With the truth. The truth will set you free." And when you know that a little bit, we all grew up, most of us, I'm gonna get you Great Black Shark, but most of us grew up in school. Our fucking school told us Columbus discovered America. I know mine did. I know my school, it was little white boys that would come around and do like a presentation. We get to go to the assembly. And as a kid, anytime you get to lead a class and go to an assembly, nigga, that's the best day of the week at school. Holla if you hear me in the chat room. Give me some kind of reaction. If the best day in the third grade, second grade are the days that you get to go to an assembly. That was a second to field trips. Anything to get out that goddamn class. And we used to have these dudes coming around and doing a whole goddamn assembly on how in 1492 he sailed the ocean blue. I still remember that fucking song. I ain't heard that song in 30 goddamn years, but I remember it. 35 years, but I remember it. And so that's what we were all educated and trained on. But all it took was for us to hear Van Sertima one time that they came before Columbus, or a Hidden Colors documentary if that's where you got it from, or some John Henry Clark videos or Dr. Clyde Winters or Dr. David Emotep, rest in peace. Once we heard one of those people talk about our indigenous roots here, all it took was that notion to realize that one thought, one person said one time, and then from there, the truth started revealing itself to us. So when it comes to our narrative of us creating our music and our music being bigger than hip hop, people just need to be introduced to the concept. Once people are introduced to the concept, the truth is going to reveal itself. Who's right? Who's wrong? Am I right? Is Busta Rhymes right? Is Fat Joe right? Time will tell. I know I'm right because I'm using sources, but we'll see. Let's see how it looks in 10 years, 30 years, 20 years. What are people still saying? Because they tried the same shit with jazz. Our generation, we were supposed they were working on my father's generation to take jazz from him. My dad was born in the 50s, went to school raised in the 60s and the 70s. That generation didn't fuck with jazz. They did everything they could to not teach jazz to our father's generation. So we supposed to be the second, third, and fourth generation that's supposed to believe jazz is white. Does anybody in here believe jazz is white? No, because all it took was one person to tell the truth, and then once that one person told the truth, you looked for yourself, and then the truth just revealed itself to you, and it kept revealing itself throughout time. Every time you went back to hear about jazz, you found the further you dig deep into jazz, left, right, what you're dealing with the South, the North, the East, the West, you find a Black person. So that's what our mission here is. That's what we gonna do. I'm gonna get to, as she said, Great Black Shark. The rules don't apply to you. Anybody else that comes to speak, keep it at 2 minutes. So I don't want nobody come later on like, well, Great Black Shark got to talk for 4 minutes. Well, he did, nigga. You didn't. All right. But please, I do want to hear a lot of y'all speak. But go ahead, Great Black Shark.
Salute to you, good brother Dwan B, the sister and co-host Eve, and much respect to the entire chat room. My brother, I have to come through with words of encouragement for you and brother Tariq, because both of y'all are very humble brothers, but I'm going to take a little bit of time, and I won't be too long to actually give you your flowers and brag on you, because I don't think we do that enough as Black men. Let me tell you something. Even before these things launch, they are going to change the course of our history as far as us taking control of our culture. And what's most significant about both of these projects that you all are doing, Couple of things. It's coming from those of us of the lineage. The truth is coming from us without corporate funding, corporate backing. It's coming from our own people. And it's going to encourage and embolden future generations to tell the truth on their own with their own narratives and facts without being afraid or waiting for white mommy and white daddy to tell you that it's okay to do so. The other thing I want to state also is for the gentleman that you had the conversation with that was telling you, well, he was asking you, do you think you're going to be able to make a difference as far as people believing the truth about it? Here's what I would say to anyone that carries that line of thought. We are the originators and creators of hip hop, which has a global influence. Far too often do our people underestimate their capabilities and their potential and the power that we have as far as our influence on things. And this is a great time in our history to see so many of our people waking up and realizing that. For example, when you look at the Popeye's chicken sandwich craze, look at all the free advertising our people gave them. It's time for us to turn that inward towards our own culture. And the point that I'm going to land with is this. For those that seem to think that hip hop culture in its entirety is all of black culture, and I got to say this for what it is, usually those people are from outside of our lineage because that's their first exposure to what black American culture is. Like you said, Brother Dwan B, that's a part and a component of our culture, but it's not the entirety of it. So keep doing what you're doing, man. Much respect to you, good brother. And salute to you as always. If you need me for anything, you already know I'm promoting the hell out of both trailers on my channel. So much respect. Keep on keeping up the good work.
Yes, yes. Appreciate that. Hey, Eve, could you put my website in the Jumbotron for the? I'm really gonna need if you guys want to support the documentary, the whole project, you can donate to the GoFundMe. But you know what would really help is if everyone in here bought a live stream pass to the pay-per-view premiere 2 weeks from today. That would go a long way. I have it priced at $35 because it's a fundraiser. So you donate you're not. It's not just about the documentary because the documentary I can sell that for a lot cheaper. It's not about selling. We are funding a full season. And before I came to you guys waiting on a full season, I wanted to show you what I'm working with. And so we have a full on a 40 minute, a 30-minute short that we're putting out. And that 30-minute short, I'm giving you so much music history. And from what's in this short, we're gonna have full on seasons dedicated to different aspects of It's Bigger Than Hip Hop, the Black American Music Family Tree. And so your support helps finance and fund a full season of it, not just one episode, multiple episodes, to really, really dig in deep. Because you cannot get our history in one documentary, in one season, and even talking about one genre. It just is too much. This is that we have to do. And along with with you also do a Q&A. So after we watch it, you're gonna be able to ask me and the director questions, and I'll be able to expound upon anything that you guys may have questions on. So I'm here to put my reputation and my face on what I say. I'm not here to say, hey, I'm not gonna do no Fat Joe shit to y'all and be like, so all niggas say is, yeah, the pastor was at your mama's house, but he still ain't your daddy. You dig? All that. No, I ain't giving you that. I'm giving you, okay, names, dates, years, locations, who, what, when, where, and why. That's the extent of this project. Who, what, when, where, and why. Don't trust me. Listen to what I say and go look it up if you want more yourself, and you're gonna find out more. So it's very important that you guys make sure, and don't wait till that Sunday either to buy. I'm gonna get it. Then you'll wake up the next day, go grocery shopping and shit, be done forgot. Get your pay-per-view pass now, so you'll get the reminder sent out to you to stay your ass home and watch. And then you get to keep a copy of it too. So there you have it. Um, so going into it being bigger than hip hop, the reason why it is because here's what we do. This is what we do when we tie all. I mean, no, scratch that. I'm gonna go this other direction. this is why it's important that we have these discussions, because for the young musicians coming up, because that's really who this is. My primary focus is there's a 7, 8, 15, 20-year-old musician out there that's dope as fuck, but they're either going to go in the direction of mimicking the shit that they hear on the radio, or they're going to hear something that's outside of that. Me, I got out of my music mentorship from church, but it's a lot of people out there who didn't go to church, who ain't got no music from church because they mom don't go whatever. And church is bullshit. We all know. So it's a lot of people who didn't have that, and so but they're still musicians. They need a direction to point in, and this documentary is going to give them that direction. It's bigger than hip hop because we're really going to get into how the music's put together. If those who don't have the mentorships like I did, or the people around them in their environment that can show them the right way, they at least are going to be able to look at this documentary to see how music is put together, where it comes from, and where to go to look deeper. Because when you study hip hop, what's going to happen is this. This is the reason why this whole Cool Herc narrative is going to end up like the whole Columbus discovered America narrative. The reason is because hip hop is an extremely dependent form of music. It's dependent. All the other sounds that comes before it. It's sample based. 80% of the music in hip hop is a sample. So naturally, when people hear something that's sample, what are they gonna do? They're gonna go back and hear the original. And but the thing is now we dealing with samples of samples. So people are gonna be going, it's gonna send the curious down a rabbit hole. And as they go back to find the originals of this music that they hear sampled, they're gonna find a black person. Or in the case of if a song it may have been sampled, may have been a white song, like the song I Keep Forgetting, that Warren G. A lot of us found out that Michael McDonald found that Michael McDonald song, I Keep Forgetting. We found that out through Warren G. Regulate. And that's how it was in my generation. I don't see it being any different for future generations. They're gonna hear some shit that catch, and then you hear the original version, you be like, oh. But then when you study Michael McDonald, first thing he's going to tell you is all the black people he was inspired by. He was just trying to sound like a nigga. So even if you go to a white boy, they're going to point you in the direction of a black person. Snoop has a song, Ups and Downs. There will be ups and downs, smiles and frowns. Share with me. Dun, 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 dun. That's a Bee Gees song. So I remember Bee Gees. I know this was the Bee Gees. Then I watched the Bee Gees documentary. What did I see when I saw the Bee Gees documentary? Oh, the Bee Gees were just trying to sound like the Stylistics and the Delphonics and the Temptations. But the Bee Gees was really more so than they were really sounding the Delphonics and the Stylistics and Blue Magic. Philly Soul did everything for the Bee Gees. They said they found a song that was sampled by Hall and Oates. Hall and Oates. All right, game on, cool. Go listen to the Hall and Oates Grammy acceptance speech when they won their Rock and Roll Hall of Fame acceptance speech. What did Hall and Oates say? They said, "Why are we the first Philadelphia musicians in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? The Stylistics. Come on now, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. All of these. This is where we got our sound from." So, as the curious go researching, as they research dancehall and reggae tone or reggae or Latino music, the further they go back, they're going to find a black person. So a documentary like this, what that does is it sets a perspective. So once someone has that notion to do a little bit of research, like I did as a child, like so many other up and coming musicians and people do, when they look, they're going to find black people every time. I don't care what your instrument is. If the instrument was invented in Japan by Yokohama or Sony and sent to America, it was put into a black person's hand to figure out how to work it. You dig what I'm saying? So that's what we got to build. We got to take people deep water. The culture is bigger than hip hop. Eve, I'm gonna kick it to you, and then if somebody else want to speak, raise your hand and say something, and I'll let you speak.
I like the analogy you were making about the foot and the toe and how, you don't look at someone and judge them by that one aspect of them, but they like to take our whole existence and try to mush it into one piece. And then they'll say, well, you can cut that piece off and it doesn't matter. But you really can't. So I appreciate that analogy. And then the other thing that you were talking about with you and Tariq, I love that there is no competition there, but I love when we're competitive. I I look to the bread aisle every time someone has a comment like what you were talking about. And there's like 50 million different types of bread. Okay, maybe not 50 million, but there are so many different types of bread in the bread aisle, and all them bitches get sold. So, I think that if you have a product that works, then you should focus on that and not that, oh my goodness, there's other people selling bread. Oh no, what am I going to do? No, just know that there's other people doing the same thing. And if you want to be recognized as a legitimate person doing this one thing, then do it to the best of your ability. Um, I was today years old a few days ago when I found out that the reason that things are called pilots is because it's the first time they're on the air. Okay, and maybe y'all are a lot smarter than me, and maybe you knew that before I did. But if you didn't, I like that you have a pilot of sorts coming out first, so people can see what all it is that you're talking about. Because a lot of times our people specifically, don't want to put their funds anywhere where they can't see a tangible, this is what it is. Now they'll do it for everybody else, but when it comes to us, we need to have our paperwork checked. We have to have the right ID. We got to have the right people on it. If you're not coming out the right studio, I mean, we have all these checks and balances when it comes to us doing things. So for what it's worth, I can appreciate a man like you who is saying, I know how y'all niggas act. And look, this is what I got. So now you have zero excuses for why you won't support, because I do have a product that's worth supporting. So you guys should definitely check out his website. I posted it in the jumbo, DwannB.com, and purchase a ticket for the viewing. And if you can't do that and you're in the area, definitely purchase a ticket to go check out him and Tashina on Wednesdays, because I think that's cool too. There's a lot of different ways that you guys can show support, and a lot of them are free, like sharing the space or sharing his platform. So you can get to that. Great Black Shark, I think, had his hand up, but I'm not sure if he wanted to go.
I'm gonna let him go. Let me say something real quick to what you just said, then I'll kick the Great Black Shark. Yeah, no, you're right. There's space for all of us, and that's how it is. Like, I understand. See, some of you, I don't know how long you guys are. I didn't find out who Tariq Nasheed was until Hidden Colors 3. So when that came out, when the crowdfunding for Hidden Colors 3 came, it was right after 2, just before 3. So when the crowdfunding came out for 3, no, it was after 3, before 4. When that crowdfunding came out for 4, it was easy for me to put money up on those crowdfundings. And trust me, I put money up on Tariq's current. Even though I'm funding my own documentary, I still put money behind his, because it's a necessity. It's necessary. But he already had something tangible, so you guys knew what you were getting. I've never shown you guys anything, so I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Hey, just trust me. I'm gonna do this great documentary, and it's gonna look like this. It's gonna look like that. It's gonna look like this. All I need is your money." I ain't doing that to you. You know what I mean? You getting to see what I was able to do out of my own pocket, on my own dime. The kind of editing I have, the quality of the picture, the thoroughness of the information, the graphics. You're gonna see that, what it looks like on my own shoestring budget. And so, to give you an idea of what it's going to look like with a for real deal budget. And then when I'm able to ask questions of celebrities. And also I did it because I could have had some different celebrities in this, but I didn't want to sell you guys on celebrities. Hey, I know this person. Hey, I know that person. No, I wanted to show you guys who I am musically, what comes out of my mind. And you can see what's coming out of the mind of the person asking the people on camera the question. Now, in my series, I got some very famous people. I got some legendary people in my series. I mean, I got some for real legends. Just can't say their names yet. I got some in different aspects, both in education. I got some legendary educators. I got some actors, some legendary rappers, musicians, producers. But I want to make sure that you guys understand that this project is all about a gift back to us as a culture, as a people, and to everybody. Because even when it comes to white folks and everybody else, anybody who values the truth is going to value this project. I'm gonna put it like that. If you value the truth, if you value someone giving you multiple points of references to prove their case, if you value honesty, and if you value valuing the innovators of sound. I value innovators. I don't know about y'all, but if someone jumps out and says, I'm gonna do this thing that's never been done before, even if I don't like it, I'm gonna value that person for having the balls to jump out and do something that hasn't been done before and stick with it. And so if you're the kind of person that value people with that kind of courage and that kind of love and that kind of spirit, you're going to value this documentary. I don't care what color you are. Now, if you're the kind of person that don't care, or you think black folks didn't do nothing great, then you'll have what you have to say, and that's fine too. Just know that if you come to me with that shit, I got better jokes than you. So watch out, nigga. Um, who next? I think Great Black Shark was next because he had his hands up. And I'll go to Racer Rover. Go ahead, Great Black Shark.
You brought up a very important point, and I'm gonna go ahead and stand on business and make a prediction with your project and Brother Tariq's. As you were saying, oftentimes when people hear music or anything, but in this particular case, we're talking about music. When you go back and find out what the source or the origin of something is, and you're doing that in current day, I think that's going to inspire and help a lot of younger upcoming artists improve their craft. A lot of times when you're doing something, if you go back to what the original was, you can build upon that basis of it and then improve what you're doing in the future. So again, man, I can't wait to see it. I'm definitely going to purchase my Premiere Pass ahead of time and gonna support both of you guys' projects, man. So again, like I said, I'm just glad that we have brothers like yourself that have the knowledge, that are passionate about passing it down the right way, and it's definitely needed, man. So again, man, I have nothing but encouragement for you.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's we gotta that's what it is. And I'm glad you picked that up, because that's what it takes. The young musicians out there, all they need is a notion, man. All they need is that. From there, it's gonna take over. They creativity, all those gifts. Y'all know me, but what I do outside of this, I'm a card reader. I read cards, and I'm also a counselor. I've been doing this shit for forever, and I know what it takes to motivate a child. I've been doing this shit. I got tangible proof. Matter of fact, one of the photographers that's going to be at my night with Tashina Arnold, I saw him at the Taste of Soul last week. He was a kid that I worked with when he was 11, 12 years old with extreme behavioral issues. And I helped him with finding his goals and finding his passion, and helping him understand why school is what it is, and the value, showed him the value in school and why he needs to stick through with it to be the man he needs to be. Well, that young man is now, I saw him at Taste of Soul last week. He's down like 22, 23. And he's a photographer, and he's like a photographer for the LA Sentinel now. I'm like, oh shit. And so he was like, yeah, man, I see you got things going. You got anything going on? I was like, okay. I was like, I see you working for the LA Sentinel. Does that mean you serious? So, and this event that I'm having with Tashina, this is gonna be full of celebrities. So I told him, I said, well, you young, I can't, I can give you an apprenticeship, and you can just come by and shoot these celebrities, and get your mingle on, get your network on. I have a professional photographer I have come in that's going to actually do the prints for people. But since this young man, I don't have a budget for him. I do have space for him. And when the professional photographer, if they end up leaving, and depending on how good his pictures are, he out of this, showing how good he is, he's going to get work. And this is all from a child that I used to work with, that this night is now providing an opportunity to. He's going, for the first time in his life, get an opportunity to shoot celebrities every other week, and every photographer wants that in their profile. So that's what we're providing along with this, because our music has always been an industry, a cottage industry, and not just the music. Our music creates photographers. It gives photographers money. Um, it gives promoters money. We got a promotion team. We got 3 different promoters on our team with me and Tashina. They don't play music, but they know how to promote music. So they're going to get paid. You get bartenders, waitresses, you get managers out of this. You get background musicians that are getting paid. We have an 8-piece band that we put together. people on stage getting paid along with this. You know, musicians don't work for free, not in LA. Comics do, but even the comics. So one music night is putting in the hands of money in the hands of a lot of people. And then when we get this documentary cracking, I got a lot of these old school artists that unfortunately too many of us forgot about that are going to be featured. Watch their profiles go back up, watch their touring get back in more demand once we put their faces back out there. It's a whole project to really promote what we do. Go ahead, my brother Racer Bo is here. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. What's happening, everybody? Can y'all hear me? What's happening?
We can hear you. Peace, brother.
Yeah, peace. What up, Just? We got the X-Men's in the war room today. I see everybody. I see Empress. I see Great Black Megalodon. What's happening, brother? This is Racer Bo. Willie Dynamite, get it right. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go by the alias on this shit because we got ops and all of that. But anywho, what up, Breeze? What's happening? Miriam, I see you too, sister, no doubt. Yo, Dwan, man. Just on the real, man. I once again, I gotta give you your kudos, bro. I actually appreciate what the work you and brother Tariq is putting in. Now, I'm actually at the same time, I'm pretty much ashamed because this is messed up that brothers all the way on the other side of the coast got to sit here and put in the work to defend our lineage when this should be coming out of New York. But the population over here is so saturated. Things are the way they are. But anywho, that doesn't take away from the fact that y'all brothers are still laying it down. And let me just tell you something, brother. My whole family is super hyped, man. Like Dwan, I don't know if you having a premiere out here just as well as brother Tariq, man. But if you do, man, I'm gonna make sure it's lit. I'm making sure everybody come through. We're gonna pop the champagne. We're gonna show out. We're gonna come out on our best. And we're gonna let everybody know what the business is. You dig? You know what I'm saying? You know me, Dwan. I ain't just sitting here just talking just to be talking. I walk it like I walk it. So that's what we're gonna do on this side, bro. But anywho, one thing I've been realizing, Dwan, brother, like especially when it comes to the topic of hip hop, a lot of our elders are not necessarily aware what's going on when it comes to Fat Joe's comments, Busta Rhymes comments. Like they really don't know that they saying this stuff. Like when I told my uncles and I told my grandfather. And by the way, before I even continue, brother, please tell me you got the videos I sent you of my grandfather record collection, man. And if you need more video, man, it ain't nothing for me to shoot over there and take a picture, go over there in the basement and get the videos you need, brother. He gave me the whole Thelonious Monk catalog, brother, on video, and I sent it directly to you, but I just wanted to know if you got it, at least, even if you get a chance to see it.
No, I didn't. I was looking for that. I didn't get it. Send it to me.
Yeah, I DM'd it to you, brother. Like, I don't know if you want to shoot me your numbers on the back channel.
Okay.
And I text it to you, whatever. But I got it for
Okay.
you, brother. Like, and then if you need more footage, man, my grandfather's jazz collection is so extensive, bro. Like, I'm pretty sure if you could just ask for a record, he could pull it out. You get what I'm saying? So I really wanted you to get that footage, but it's there for you, brother, if you need it. And I know you're a big jazz fan, and you're a musician yourself. You're a percussionist, so which is basically the heartbeat of music. So which actually gives more in depth and more how can I say more solidification when it comes to your documentary, brother, because you're coming from the heart of music, come from the soul of music. And not only that, you going deep into the history of our music as a people and what we created in this country, and then other people just stolen or try to take claims for, but we gonna take that shit back. That's light work. But yeah, brother, like just to back to what I was saying, I realize a lot of our elders not really don't know what's going on with as far as this hijacking of hip hop. So I just wanted to bring that to the table, and just be aware, like, because like I said, when the minute I told my uncles, the minute I told my grandfather about what's going on with this hip hop conversation, like the first thing I told my grandfather, like what that was going on, he said, "Oh, they trying to do the same thing they did to jazz, huh?" I said, "Yeah, man, it's trying to go down, but we ain't gonna let this shit happen this time." You know what I mean? So, we just once again, brother, I want to give you your kudos, brother. And I'm not trying to hog the mic, and I'm about to let everybody spit. I only got 2 minutes, but man, I'm around if you need me for any insight as far as the nuances of New York and this hip hop thing, brother. But once again, we appreciate you. You riding for you. I'm gonna subscribe the minute you put it up. It's no thing, brother. We got you.
Yes, sir. And to go You can go to DwannB.com right now. I have it on my homepage. I have the GoFundMe and also the link. So Eve has it up in the jumbotron. My homepage. At DwannB.com, and it's also on my profile, DwannB.com. Right there, the first thing you're gonna see is a link to register for the pay-per-view. And the second thing you're gonna see is a GoFundMe for additional contributions. So that's where we at with it. But no, I appreciate that. I appreciate that because we have to understand that like you said, the same thing that they try to do with jazz. Remember, we gotta always remember this. We gotta give our elders a little bit of credit. We gotta always remember they tried to do that to jazz. It wasn't successful. The evidence it wasn't successful is we all know jazz is black. And to the point to where now, if someone tries to say it's white, they get looked at like they silly. You know what I mean? So we beat them off. What up? Hold on. You got it? Hold on one second. Hold on one second, y'all.
Look, it's a damn shame that we weren't able to do that with our other sounds. I hate that, you think of country and everybody thinks of white people. You hear rock or rock and roll or whatever. And maybe some of y'all think of James Brown, but a lot of y'all still don't make that connection between the different sounds that we can make because we're just so damn cool, I guess. And we can just make other sounds. But how cool would it be if we could just keep our sound, keep it for us, and pass it down to our minis as their legacy? Man, I can't wait for 50 years from now. And our minis are talking to us about their stuff. And they don't have to talk about the fact that they had to take it back and, like we're doing all the work right now. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to Dwann.
Here,
Um,
right. They won't. They shouldn't have to do the work. Moving forward, as far as if we just make sure we defend it now. But when it comes down to like, I gotta say that 'cause I used to say the same thing about like country and rock and roll. But then the more I got into it, the more I got into the sounds and I got into the music. Like, just like with us as a people, we're not a monolith. We have our majority and we have our minorities. We have our fringes. The majority of us, for the majority of black people, rhythm and blues is the sound. That's the majority. R&B, I mean, because the most popular sounds that we stick to are straight up rhythm and blues derivatives, whether that be disco, funk, or hip hop. They are rhythm and blues derivatives. Uh, all that Jamaican music is rhythm and blues derived. Rhythm and blues is really our sound as people. We like it slow, we like it funky, we like a little bit of grease on it. That's our sound. For the majority, the a silent minority, there a minority, but still a fairly large size. A minority of our sound likes more the rock and roll sound. The rock and roll is also a rhythm and blues derivative. We got to remember that R&B was around before rock and roll. Rock and roll gets a bigger profile because that's the side that white folks love the most. But rock and roll, rhythm and blues have been around longer. Um, the rock and roll style was rhythm and blues sped up because there's a minority, a smaller segment of black society that likes his music a little fast. Here's the thing: that's a smaller segment of black society that likes his music fast, but it's the majority segment of white and non-black society that likes their music fast. So that's how it happens. Was something that is popular with a minority, a smaller amount of us, is widely popular with other people because our music is too when it's slow, when it's our way, it's too much grease on it, it's too much funk, it's too much soul. Their bodies can't handle it, and they can't dance. And we dance in between the beat. They can't dance in between the beats, so they gotta speed the music up so they can bounce up and down like a fucking pogo stick when they dance. 'Cause that's how they dance. Bang, 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 bang. God damn, neighbors are loud as fuck. I wish these niggas can walk past. God damn. Anyway, um, So what they do is what's popular with a smaller amount of us is extremely popular with a large amount of everyone else. And so that's why I can say they don't necessarily take it. It's just that we create a sound that most of us don't prefer. And a way huge majority, large number of them do prefer. So they gravitate towards it. And like when you look at the people who the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, they didn't come in as cultural imperialists. They really came in as students of Muddy Waters. They really came in as students of Howlin' Wolf. They really were at the feet. I look at some of these documentaries I watch on blues music and country music. When you listen to the original classes of white folks that came to that music, they truly came as students. And guess what happened? As they came as true students, black people were at the same time were saying, "Oh, you niggas are old." Let's think about that. That's a cultural aspect that we can fix. That's a cultural aspect that pushes those jazz greats and those older greats to white people. That's what pushes some of these rappers to these Europeans and Latinos. Let's tell the truth. Listen to niggas talk about hip hop. If somebody's not in their top 5, they're trash. You could be like, "Hey, such and such is my top 5." "Oh man, he trash." Huh? Before this whole hip hop debate was talked about, if MC Hammer's name was brought up, what did niggas say? "Man, he lost all that money." We weren't saying, "Man, thank MC Hammer for having the first rap albums go 5 times platinum," and we weren't doing that. We were saying MC Hammer lost his money. We were saying shit like that. And so what if so now let's follow this. MC Hammer hasn't sold out, but what if he did? What if because the majority of people paying for like especially during the late 90s when we were all the way off of him, the only place he could really tour was Europe, Japan. They're paying his bills while we're saying he's washed up. Who's gonna get the pass down the information? Who's gonna get the grades? Who's gonna get the narrative pointed in their direction? The people paying me right now, or the people who told me I'm washed up? These are some hard questions we got to ask ourselves culturally. How do we treat our people, and what part do we play? What's up, man? What part do we play in this? Everything has a cause and effect relationship. Nothing happens in a vacuum. There's a cause and effect relationship between everything that happens on the planet. The effect is these black artists, these older black artists defecting. The effect is white people and these other people taking our music. But what's the cause? The cause, oftentimes, some of it we can control, some of it we can't. When we create a fringe, when we create a less popular sound like rock and roll, black people are never going to like our music fast. The majority just won't. That's not our beat. That's not our vibration. Little Richard said that Richard talked about that when he made his music, he intentionally sped the music up to please white people. That was in the back of his mind when he did it. I want to play white audiences. Let me speed the music up. Because that's not our rhythm, but that is their rhythm. So the way I look at it is sometimes I'm a barbecue. I'm a grill master. I'll be on my grill like a motherfucker. I cook my salmon, I cook my steaks or whatever. I don't eat beef no more. But if people come by the house that eat beef, I'm putting some beef burgers on a fucking grill. I hate corn, but every time I barbecue, I'm gonna put some corn on that grill because other people like it. When you're a cook, when you're a chef, when you're a creator, sometimes you just gonna create things that you may not necessarily fuck with. But it's in my spirit right now to create this thing. So here you go. So that's the way I look. I've gone to relook at things. Heavy metal is just sped up blues with a heavy electric sound. Again, black people don't like our music fast. We love the guitar, but we don't like the guitar to lead all the goddamn time. Like not that heavy. It leads in funk, but the reason why the guitar can lead in funk is because the bass is ahead of the bass is the primary in the funk. The bass is so heavy in funk, then we don't mind the guitar wailing off because the bass is so heavy. But if we don't have that counteract between bass, we ain't trying to hear a whole bunch of culturally, that's not what we feel. We feel bass. So there are always derivatives, black people who create forms of music that the majority of us won't like, that others are going to love in major numbers. The thing we got to demand when that comes up is just respect. Y'all can have those genres. They can, for me personally, they can have heavy metal. I like Motley Crue, but I'm not gonna if I put my Motley Crue in, I'm gonna listen to them for like 15, 20 minutes. Then it's back to R&B. You know what I mean? I like Journey. I like them other groups. They cool. You know, I like Iron Maiden. I fucks with Iron Maiden. But I'm only gonna give Iron Maiden like 10 minutes of my time. I love Jimi Hendrix. But I ain't gonna give Hendrix no more than 30 minutes of my time. The most time I've given Jimi Hendrix was when I was in Seattle, just driving through on mushrooms, getting the feel for the environment. I listened to him all night then, but on a regular listening night, I'm gonna listen to a Jimi Hendrix song here or there, but I'm gonna listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire 500 times to every one Jimi Hendrix song. I'm gonna listen to Parliament Funkadelic 1,000 times to every one Jimi Hendrix song. That's just what it is. And we got to just know that as long as we acknowledge that, yes, we created that, and you bitches better respect it. Then after that, once we have that respect and all that, go ahead and play your little rock and roll. We don't want to hear that shit anyway. Um, I know.
That's
Go ahead, E, then you kick me.
that's real talk. Yes, it's on Miriam after. I was gonna say about. I love that we are not a monolith. You know, we are one big nigga. According to them, we're one big nigga. But inside of that umbrella, you can be you, and it's okay because all of the sounds come from us. Um, Man, you have me over here rolling with white people trying to find the beat. Have you ever rooted them on? Like you can find it. Like you can get that. Like I've done that in real time, and
I do
it
it.
tickles me.
I throw them off. I'm like,
Like how are you so off that you can't find the offbeat? I don't get that, but it tickles me every time because they're just so comfortable moving, and then you think about how we move and we're comfortable moving too, but it doesn't look the same. And it just makes me think about how our sound, even if we're playing the same music, it doesn't sound the same. Robin Thicke could never John Legend, Justin Timberlake could never Chris Brown. And man, if I didn't see Justin Timberlake try to beat his feet and they did not boo his ass off the stage, I was so
and it's funny.
disappointed.
It's funny you say that because John Legend, he's Negro light. He's not even all the way soulful. He's like,
He's Negro light.
yeah, he's white bright damn near. He's light bright damn near white Negro light, and
And he could still never. and
right.
and and I love that, like people will say, well, we've got some mixtures going on, and they're not as black or whatever, but still, I'm sorry, Eminem could never J. Cole, and Eminem could never Drake, if I'm gonna be honest. So y'all can feel how you want to feel about Drake, but I'm just letting you know that if we're gonna, in the grand scheme of where pieces of shit should end on the piece of shit stick, you know Eminem should be all the way at the end of that stick. And people like him because the people like him, they want to take our sound and say that it's theirs. If we weren't doing what we're doing right now in 50 years, Justin Timberlake, Robin Thicke, Tina Marie, and all of these other white people will be our sound, and it'll just be like back in the day. We remember when we used to make music like that, and that makes me so sad. But I'm sorry, it used to make me sad. But knowing that we have real people doing real work right now in real time, we're changing the narrative, and they can't do anything about that. I mean, they can mess up the Twitter space. We've actually been in and out with the glitching today, and they do that a lot. But just know that these interruptions, that is the only move that they have, because they're reactive and we're being proactive, even though it seems reactive. So keep up the good work. And shout out to, again, shout out to you for doing the work and caring enough to do something about it. Because you could have said, I know what I know, and I'm going to pass it on to the people I know. And that's why we can't trust these old niggas. But you're not an old nigga, so there's Miriam, go ahead, sis. It's on you.
Well, wow, Eve, how do I follow that? But no, peace and love to the room. Shout out to you, brother Dewan B. You know I always shout you out, give you your flowers because although you're young, you're still a master teacher because you do the diligent work and you're still teachable and you have ears that listen intently and pick up on information, and if someone can teach you, you are willing to hear it, long as you know what it is that they are saying, pans out and they've done the research and they've done the work. I mean, brother, you're brilliant in the way that you analyze music and the correlation with it, with our legacy, lineage and our legacy. So shout out to you. Shout out to you, Sister Eve, for being a gracious co-host. And shout out to you also, Brother Raceable, Brother Black Shark, Brother Voltron, and shout out to some of my sisters in the room, Afro Bubbles and Nicole. Shout out to the Black family in general. Gotta get that out. Peace and love, greetings. Okay, to the subject dealing with that our culture is bigger than hip hop. You better believe it is. There is no such thing as American culture, not the essence of what is truly American culture without us. I'm not talking about the demonic and the violent part and all that. That's all, systemic racism, white supremacy. But when you look at the morality, the heart, the soul, the rhythm, the beat, that's all us. We give America the actual canvas, we are the canvas, we are the colors, we are the tones of what America is. We simply are the soundtrack of the waking moments of happiness, love, of um, trials and tribulations, of rebellion, of morality, of struggle, of resilience, of elevation, elevating, innovating. There's no one like us. We are truly and marvelous, exceptional people. That's why we're often, um, people often try to emulate us and duplicate us, but they can't because there's only one originator, and that's us. So they just rely on the influence that we widely influence. So they are influenced by us and touched by us. And Brother Dewan B, you definitely had touched upon that when you get to talking to the Monkees, the Beatles, um, um, Led Zeppelin, and all of them. They paid much respect and homage and bowed down at the foot of our elders for creating blues and even always the rhythm in the blues. They definitely looked up to Son House, Muddy Waters. They looked up to Howling Wolf. They looked up, to all of those beautiful blues singers, as well as when you get into the soul, like they were trying to duplicate the sound of the stylistics, the sounds of Melvin and the Blue Notes, the Supremes, anything that was done in England, they will tell you music isn't music unless you bow down and study the greats of Black America, of foundational Black Americans. And I'll yield my time and I'll just speak a little later because I see other hands are up. Peace and love. Thank you.
Much respect, Miriam. Thank you for those words. And to the room, look, we're not cutting y'all off like that as much as when people start coming up and raising their hands. I know that gets a little distracting trying to remember where you wanted to comment when so much has been said. So you can definitely speak again, Miriam. That is cool with us. I think Racer Boat, I seen your hand go up, but we did have a new speaker. So if we can go to the new speakers first, then we'll wrap back around to you and Breeze, if that's cool. Dwan, is that cool?
Yes, go. Let's go. Go to the new speaker.
All right. The Negro Black Knights Heritage. The mic is yours.
Hi, family. How's it going? Culture is bigger than hip hop. You betcha it is. Every day, every day. We definitely run the globe. So, I do have a question towards that. Is how come our elders didn't push for a class action lawsuit for people that have like plagiarized our work or stolen our work, but I've seen them go after hard on our own people when they sample. I want them to go after these white folks that feel comfortable taking our craft and bastardizing it. So like that's just an observation. It's not the disrespect, but I definitely want us to see what we get owed as a community.
That's a really good question. I think I have a question. Dwan might have a question before we answer your question.
I'm gonna answer the question first. I'm gonna answer the question.
Nice.
Shut up, Eve. I'm I'm no what it is with people. I don't know if people even have the notion to what would they sue them on, because what they do is with our artists is they do it through money. They offer these contracts, and like in the case with Chess Records, they'll use a black person to do it, like Willie Dixon or currently Puff Daddy, Jay-Z. You know, they'll use them and to get you to sign your life over. And they get them young, they do it. And then on the back end, when it comes to when it comes to that, there is possibly a class that can be put together. But that would require old niggas to care about black people. And most of them really don't. And we all understand that. We all understand that. So that's really what it comes down to. It not the motivation to, but that's what it comes down to: education effort between all of us. Because at some point, you know, we got to stop signing these slave deals, and then once things are done, once we do come up with major labels like we did in the past, they through the economy, through tightening and restricting distribution, force labels to sell to bigger labels through constricting distribution. So if there is a lawsuit, it would have to be a class action lawsuit over how over a monopoly of distribution, because the distribution is where they stranglehold us when we do create our own record labels and when we do create our own sounds. When they tighten those means up, that forces record companies to sell. Big bank take little bank. So that's how it usually plays out. But who's next?
It's gonna be Racer Bo. Well, Negro Black Knight. You had a follow up? Is that why your hand went back up?
I just wanted to say thank you for addressing the question, because I think that is something that we really, really need to address as a community, to make sure that our art form is not, because we see that as being used to take advantage of us and to discredit us as a group of people. Because this transcends into the education realm. This transcends to other aspects of life. That's the reason why I was asking about this, because they downplay this hip hop thing. Now they're gonna downplay our greats when it comes to things that are even more serious in our community. So that was the reason why I was asking about we should like motivate for a class action lawsuit or push for these type of things, and make sure that we get our elders involved, because I want them to see what's owed. I'm just tired of them being disrespected.
Much respect.
Yeah.
We are all tired of being disrespected, and you can't trust these old niggas. You know, don't. It's not mean. It is what it is. I was always the child that was like, they always put insubordination on my progress reports and report cards, because I don't give a damn that you're older than me. What have you done that makes me respect you? And if you can make me understand why I should, then I'm all for it. But most of the time they can't, so then they get mad because they've been here longer. But what have you done for me lately? I mean, Eddie taught us that. Okay, I'm sorry. Racer Bo is back
That
on
was
you.
Janet Jackson.
Well, no, I mean, I'm coming to America with this.
I know, sis.
But yeah, go ahead, Racer Bo. It's back on you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say when I was speaking about Hammer, you know, Dwan made a valid point about, you know, having more respect for what Hammer
I
did.
can't hear Racer Bo. Can y'all hear him?
You can't hear me, Dwan. If you can, I'll drop down, come back up.
I can hear him, but Racer, let me drop you down real quick and bring you right back up.
Yeah, go out and come back in so I can hear what you got to say. In the meantime, I'm gonna get to the next person, but I'm bring you back up, Racer, about when you get dropped down. Okay, you back up there? Say something.
All right,
See,
can you hear me?
yeah, I
All
hear you
right,
now. Go
bet,
ahead.
yeah, all right. So what I was saying is that you had said something important when it came to you know, us as a community giving more respect to Hammer. And I totally agree with that. I think that it was another you know, industry veil that we fell for. You know, I actually had just had a debate in another space about this about a couple hours ago for hours. You know, really defending the Black American Foundation, Black American community here in New York, because just like you know, I know Dewan for a while you was falling for that you know, us hating on the West Coast music. And then you know, Tariq did his broadcast, and you know, he explained how, you know, we was out here bumping NWA. Even in my hood particularly, you know, I come from
Let me make it real quick. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna make it real quick. And after I'm falling for it, I know it's cats like you that's real on the ground.
mhm.
I speak from the aspect of the ones who got the microphone and speak up.
no which
They've been saying bullshit for like 30
no which
years.
I agree.
And I'm always gonna go. I'm always gonna go with them niggas. All right.
No, no, I'm glad you clarifying that, because if you but one thing I know that you noticed that this for the most part comes from the immigrant community, or it comes from these bought and paid for Negroes who are slaves of the industry. This doesn't come from.
And yeah, it don't come from you. And another reason why I do it is like me. I'm also a shit starter too. I'll throw a grenade. Sometimes shrapnel got a hit. I'll say New York niggas. And the reason why I'll do it is because I want I want more New York niggas like you and Breeze. That you be, and now Breeze is, but really with you, you'll be the first to step up and be like, no, that's some bullshit. And so these what's his name? What's that little Jerry Curl little motherfucker that was just on Drink Champs talking about
Special
NWA?
ed.
Uh yeah. So when it gets, just say the same way with the immigrant community, we ain't gonna have to go in on the tethers when immigrants start checking their own. Now I understand New Yorkers are outnumbered now, but when it become a thing to where the average New Yorker is stepping up when these people are saying this is New York culture and this and that, and they be like, no, this is black culture, at that point, I'm going to back off. But until then, as long as you are the exception, I'm going to be on them niggas' heads. And I be, that'd be fun to me. I be laughing. But we need more of you, dog. But go
No,
ahead.
no, which I admit, but you got good brothers like our good brother Cornbread, and I mean, you know, his knowledge, you know, superior is mine, because he was actually there in the thick of things, and particularly he could give you that insight coming from the west side of the Bronx, which, believe it or not, is a whole demographic coming from my side of the Bronx, which I'm from the south side, Hunts Point, and which actually was playing to what I was saying about, you know, us listening to West Coast music. Just my hood alone, the foundational Black American community and the Max and shit I came up from, they was listening to Too Short. They was listening to Sugar Free. They was listening to Skinny Pimp out of Texas, and like, just because they was talking about the pimp game and the lifestyle they were living. So when you hear that, when you hear these stigmas and these tropes about uh like particularly these phrases coming from the immigrant community, because this is who's spawning this, or the industry, or the record industry within itself. They're the ones coming up with these terms. Oh, hip hop is New York culture. Um, or if you was a Latino from the Bronx, you're part of hip hop. Or if you're not from New York, this is not your culture. You ain't got the right to speak on that. These are immigrants and people who are slaves to the industry, deliberately saying this to detach the rest of our brothers and sisters from the community. I'm letting you know, straight from the grassroots, straight from the ground floor, from particularly speaking for the elders of our community that were there, that created this thing. That has never been our sentiment. If I'm not mistaken, I believe you describe hip hop as believing a baby, the baby brother of the funk, or the child of the funk, as I like to call it, because which is evident even within the culture itself. This is why you have the Funky 4+1. This is why the DOC said it's getting funky. This is why you have Houdini making
G
5 minutes of
Funk,
funk. You get what I'm saying?
the G Funk
All of
sound,
that. You get what I'm saying?
all that.
So even us over here in the city, we always understood that the funk came from the South, That's what our forefathers and our foremothers brought up with him when they were migrating to these big cities. Not only that, when it came to the poverty that we were experiencing here in the big cities, that's the whole reason why the DJ became a thing. Because when they took the band class, the bands and the musical classes with instruments out of the New York City system, all we had was two turntables in the mixer and our parents' old records, funk, soul, and gospel records that we had, and we would sit there and find the break and make it funky to where we could get down to it and make it our thing. So when you hear these phrases, please trust me, this is very deliberate. 9 out of 10, when you hear somebody say, "Well, this is a Bronx culture, this is New York culture," that's always going to come from an immigrant, because we always understand that.
And that's all. And also to be
Yeah,
clear,
bro.
like that whole Bronx, New York culture, that's new. That's been last what 2-3 year talking point.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Here, but here's one thing. Again, this is why on the West Coast we have a whole different perspective, because I have a lot of friends that rap. You know, what I mean, I'm a musician, so I know what a lot of cats deal with on the day-to-day grind, and what and some of the disrespect they like. When you hear some of the battle stories from the cats that was around in the '80s and the '90s of what they had to go through, and oftentimes never got the approval of New York. Or they used to hear. I've talked to these cats about how like now what they were hearing in '91 was that ain't real hip hop. What y'all doing out there in the West Coast? That's what they was hearing in '87 from New York. When they would go out there, oh, that ain't real hip hop. That's what they was saying in '93. So I'm speaking from that point of view. I'm not speaking these new people are doing. We know that's that propaganda. We gotta like I've heard like it's people like you, it's other people who aren't on that bullshit. You know what I mean? It's other people who ain't on that kind of time. But I've been in the studios and hearing rappers when they have 3 or 4 LA local rappers. I'm on the drums and sitting back listening to them talking about shows they had to do in New York in the '90s when they was coming up. And a lot of some of them got good stories, but a lot of that shit wasn't pretty when it came to in the conversation generally centered around they was telling us we ain't hip hop. That was the general consensus. Oh, that ain't hip hop. That ain't hip hop. That's what they were saying in '91. And so, and on the West Coast, one thing about here in LA, we have a culture. It could be good or bad or indifferent. But in the West, we generally have this laissez-faire, really not giving a fuck kind of culture. We really don't put and it's kind of sad. Out of all we've created over here on the West Coast, the only thing we've ever really put our stamp on was gangster rap. And even gangster rap is, if we look at the body of music that got popularized and created and grown here in LA, even gangster rap is just a foot on the body. You know, this is the home of rhythm and blues. There would be no R&B if it weren't for LA. Like LA can legitimately all the way 100% stamp the home of rhythm and blues, which is the sound of Black America. Philadelphia can stamp it too. And that's another reason why I don't. Yeah, I keep it at Black America. I don't even go to the South. When I was in Philly a couple weeks ago, and oftentimes it is from the South. In certain, and like certain things we can definitely put in the South. You know, the Memphis, the Delta blues, the certain early pre Zydeco sounds. But when we're talking about some of the other stuff, I was in Philadelphia doing research. Look, it was always free Black societies in L.A. Not in L.A. In Boston, in Philadelphia, D.C., New York, in the North, in the 1800s, in the 1700s, that did music. Do you know the first recorded sheet music accepted by the Copyright Office of the United States was copyright written in 1818 by free Black people in Philadelphia? Philadelphia got a whole nother story when it comes to music. That rich ass history when it comes to music. That classical classiness you hear in Gamble and Huff, go listen to Gamble and Huff. Everything Gamble and Huff has grand string arrangements. Look, the Philadelphia sound has been having grand string arrangements going back 200-300 years by niggas who weren't enslaved, who that's where they're from. There's only one common bond, one Black American. Sometimes it's a Black American in the South. Sometimes it's a Black American in the North. Sometimes it's a Black American in Seattle. Like with rock and roll, heavy metal, the heavy metal sound, grunge, that's Seattle. So the common bond, I break shit down to the common denominator is math. I can't reduce my fractions to 2/4. I can't reduce my fractions to 10/6. Hell no. We got to get this shit down 3/2. The least common denominator. We got to get down to the common denominator. What's the common thing? Black. Because rhythm and blues got its park in LA. But who were the people? Black. That's why, no, Black American, people who were on this soil when slavery was going on, who can trace all of their grandparents, all of them, or most of them, because after 4 generations, you have 32 grandparents. You can trace most of them hoes, not hoes, but most of them people, 30 of them, 32 of them. Me, I can trace all 32, 64, 128. I can trace them all to right here in the United States of America. Some may have a line or two that because there was some intercontinental stuff going on. But hey, before I finish this part, Eve got to go for her space. Eve, say something real quick before you leave, and before I finish this part. Say something real quick and tell them what your space is.
Yeah, look, so I have a space coming up in the next 7 minutes about how we talk. And I think that it could be related to what we're talking about. So if y'all want to come through after you get out of Dwann's space, definitely come check me out. But the culture is bigger than hip hop. So, don't be stuck on thinking that because we are the originators of some sounds, that means that we're only supposed to be repping those sounds. No, we can rep all of the sounds. Take all of y'all shit back. Take all of our shit back. That is your job. That's your homework for the day. So holler at me. Let me know if you got it accomplished. Black first.
So yeah, after this room, and I'm doing this room like another 30. I'm gonna do this room like another 30 minutes because I gotta leave. I gotta get on stage and crack some jokes at a 420 Halloween show. That's one thing I love about LA. It's a Halloween show at a weed lounge. And you better bring it when you cracking jokes in front of a bunch of weed heads, because them niggas, they laugh in their mind. They don't laugh out loud unless you make them. But anyway, back to the point I was making. This is a Black American thing. One thing, let me tell you something. One thing about like here on the West, we have an attitude of really not giving a fuck. But me, I'm different. I'm pushing back to a lot of this shit. Because one thing I hear all the time, even now, I'll put something out there, and then there'll be somebody that got a comment. That come from the South. No, nigga. Some shit that we do came from the West Coast. Deal with it. Just like some shit came from New York. A fuck ton of shit came from Chicago, Detroit, but really Chicago. A fuck ton of shit came from Seattle and Oakland. But the minute a person from the West Coast say something, you're from the South. Bruh. And I ain't talking to anybody in particular here. I'm talking in general. Just all you gotta do is read my goddamn tweets and look at the comments. You're from the South. Stop this insecurity shit. We Black American. And the South is a huge reason. The Tennessee sound, the Memphis, Tennessee sound don't sound shit like the Nashville sound. That don't sound shit like the Atlanta sound. That don't sound shit like the South Carolina sound. And the Charlotte sound. And the Birmingham, Alabama sound. The South is a vast area. I'm never going to disrespect the South and just say some big ass region. No, there are distinct differences between New Orleans sound and Arkansas sound. Distinct differences. And to muddy it all up and say it's the South, that's disrespectful of the South. Just like it's disrespectful when I talk about some West Coast shit and I hear some, but it's from the South. Shut up. No. R&B has always thrived at its best in Los Angeles. This has been the place, and LA deserves its stripes because LA is a city that invested the most money in R&B. People can say all they want about, I like this, I like that. Okay, did your city put up the money to support a record label to make sure to make sure that we can still preserve those sounds? No, they didn't. LA did that with homegrown musicians. Not every musician comes from the South. Roy Ayers was born and raised in LA. And the ones who do come from other areas, they change their sounds. Miles Davis created cool jazz in LA. He didn't create it when he was living in St. Louis. He didn't create it when he was living in New York. He had to come to the environment, this open, relaxed, open air, chill, weed smoking environment called Los Angeles, and to breathe in this energy of LA in order for him to create that new sound. There's one common denominator, Black American. And so that Black American, Minnesota, what about Minneapolis and that sound? What the fuck would the 80s and the 90s be without Minnesota? The South didn't create that, the Minneapolis sound. Minneapolis created that. Give them niggas some fucking respect. If I'm talking about Mint Condition or Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and Prince, don't be like, they came from the South. No, them niggas was raised in Minneapolis. That's their sound. Let them have it. The common denominator is Black. Stop all this regional beefing. And if I stand up for my region and you got an issue with it, then I'm going to clown your ass too. And yeah, I will say some very mean and disrespectful things because I like doing that shit too. I don't mean it, but if it's funny, I'm going to say it. Why not? But anyway, I want to get back to our speakers. Miriam, you've had your hand up. I'm going to go to you next. And then we're going to get to the next people.
I should have actually
I'll
been
go
next.
after
I should
Brother
have actually been
Breeze.
next.
I'll go after Breeze.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Brother Breeze.
I'm gonna be real quick. What you was talking about the
Hey,
grunge.
Breeze, I can't hear you, man. All right, can y'all hear Breeze? You might
Yeah,
have
I
to
can
get
hear
yourself
him.
back.
Yeah, he might have to drop down, Dwan, because I can hear him.
Okay, I'm gonna drop down.
I'm gonna drop you down, Breeze, and then come right back up.
Before you do that, Dwan, can you do that while you're hosting? Drop down and then drop back up without having a co-host?
No, I can't do that. The whole room shut down if I did that.
Make me a co-host, then I think you can do it and bring yourself back up for safety.
No, I'll bring you a host, but no, even as a host, if I leave, it's just done. But
I know.
Go ahead, Breeze.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right, peace, family. Like what you were saying right there about the whole thing, I was listening to the whole part where you saying we don't mind letting some of those people like the grunt, the metal, and rock take that stuff and go on. But I was also, and you did bring up grunge. I was saying our wonderful sister Tina Bell. That's who created the sound of grunge music. So you're correct when you say everything black. It's black on black on black on black, and we have to go back to that point and reiterate at that whole point, because I just want people to understand that a lot of all the music, that everything that's been around here, that's always been created by us black people. And as somebody, like I said, I came up in Long Island, New York, and my man, he had a fucking shrine to Tupac. Tupac wasn't even dead yet. But my man had a whole shrine to Tupac. We grew up listening to the Alcoholics. A whole lot of brothers, 8 Ball, MJG, all these people out there on the West Coast. We already in New York, we were listening to those people. The narrative is that we didn't care about it, but those are usually immigrants. Most of us black people, we found solace in like that. Like I remember when I first heard the Ghetto Boys. When I first heard that shit resonated with me. So I want to just say that we've always been tapped in, especially those of us who had knowledge of self. If you grow up in the nation of gods and earth, you already knew that everything was black. So you was already tapped in. A lot of our other brothers and sisters in Long Island, or New York, period, some of us got trapped into intersectionality and all of that other bull crap. But for the most part, those of us who stayed in full 10 toes down on our square communities like Hempstead, Long Island, where we had a African American museum when I was 6 years old. So we already knew and we understood, and so we got the message, and we've always been following that. So when you be throwing that heat, I just take it as it comes, brother. appreciate you on that. Like I said, you and Tariq are doing something that's making a precedent, and everybody need to be taking notes.
Yo, real quick, can I say something, Dwan? Please, man, please,
yeah,
brother.
go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, brother Breeze, just for Dwan's peace of mind, man. Would you please tell him this is major parts of Long Island, major parts of Queens, major parts of the northern Bronx where hold up, brother. Major parts of the northern Bronx where we are not riding trains, we are not eating rats, and we're not sleeping with Puerto Rican women. Would you please explain that to him? Because everybody thinks that that's the whole entire New York City. And I try to tell Brother Dwan.
I get it. That's where my uncle stayed. My uncle Michael lived in New York like all throughout the 80s. He moved back like in 92. He stayed up there and he stayed up there. He's in a house. And he had an 81 Eldorado, a silver one. And he had the Eldorado, he had the bumper welded onto the car. And when he came back to LA with it, we was like, why the fuck is your bumper welded onto the car? He was like, man, New York, they'll steal your shit at the stoplight. So but we talking about mid-80s New York, you know what I mean? Mid-80s was grimy no matter what city you was in Black America, you know? So I understand that. My Uncle Mike, man, I remember that silver Cadillac he had. That long body one too, that Mr. Drummond. He had one of them hoes.
Yeah. Because
And he had
I
in New
grew
York.
up in a house. Like I said, a lot of us grew up in a house with a mom and a dad. And like I said, my dad, I used to follow him all around. When I was a kid, I used to look at him. He always had this pick in his back pocket with the black fist pointed up out of his back pocket. So I already knew that we were different from some of my other um, friends that were in the neighborhood because they families didn't teach them knowledge of self.
And
You
also
know,
know this. Not just New York, but when I speak to on cities in general, I know that there's varieties even within cities, you know? And but when you speak to the majority, to where the higher population is, that's the larger understanding people have. Like in LA, when people talk, I put up there I put up a tweet yesterday about Chris Brown leaving LA, leaving California, and I was like, good, because I'm tired of these niggas moving here and thinking a way to be here. The minute they come to LA, they think it's gangster time. They think it's time to act hard and go meet up with a Crip or a Blood set and get jumped onto the set. They think that's what time it is out here,
And that shit
perpetuating
is
that
corny.
and yeah, they perpetuating that bullshit ass stereotype. So Chris Brown, he represented that. I used to run across him, and I remember running across him when Run It first dropped. A very nice young man, very very nice, bright eyed, bushy tail kind of. You know what I mean? Hella cool. And then I remember running across him again, the Drew League, when the hair color changed. Like, this is a different nigga. And I will see him because the Drew League is not too far from where I live. Like, especially when they play over at Southwest, I could be at that hole in 5 minutes. And so I would see Chris Brown come down, and then I'll be at these parties and I see how he's dressed, and I see how he adopted the whole gangster persona. And as someone, right, it's like here what we got to deal with in the South Central, we got to deal with it on all ends. Starting with other niggas who live in LA just 20 minutes outside of this bitch. And niggas who live in Pasadena and in the Valley, they be on that fuck shit. They think everything about being black in LA is about being hard and about being a gangster. But if you grew up south of the 10 and you grew up in the belly of that beast, you realize real early on that if you ain't part of that gang, stay far the fuck away from it. That lifestyle ain't shit. Like, I listen to them same gangster rap music lyrics, and when I heard of them gangster rap lyrics was don't do this shit. When I listened to Dope Man was talking about, nigga, you gonna end up dead or in jail. Summer vacation, dead or in jail. So that's the part of the point of view us South Central niggas got from it. Don't do this shit. All the niggas that live in Pasadena and fucking Pacoima and on the outskirts of LA, all the niggas think being hard is being black. And now everywhere I go, niggas think that LA is about being hard and about everybody's a gangster out here. And I gotta deal with all this shit that LA, I gotta hear all the time from these cats. And no one defends LA. So that's why I go so hard at other places, because I ain't gonna let nobody talk about my city and no one's just not say nothing. No, I'm gonna talk. And I'm going hard when I talk. So it's like,
You got to deal with that shit, nigga, just like we deal with the rats, nigga.
Yeah, so I gotta go hard. And so like no, they only talk about the gangster aspect of it. I put up a post and I said LA is more than that gangster shit. And people was like, what else? Like, we the place that's preserving live music if you haven't been paying attention. When the rest of the world's trying to go digital with everything and make everything sound plastic, it's the LA R&B, it's the LA hip hop scene that's kept a live sound integrated within the music. And because the LA live hip hop scene kept a live music sound in it, those musicians were able to go and turn back in and bring jazz back into control of black hands. Go and listen to Terrace Martin's newest album, I Left My Heart in Ladera with Alex Isley. Dope ass album. That was funded because that young man, when he was a young man, got to tour with Snoop and Dre and make his bread and sign himself to a record label instead of getting signed by somebody and shelved somewhere. And the West Coast gave us disco, the through Barry White. The first disco track was recorded here. You know what I mean? The West Coast gave so much. The West Coast really gave us funk before Ohio did. In New York, funk was going on. James Brown was touring the country, and he had his version. He came up with the sound. Immediately the same year, Sly and the Family Stone came up with their version of funk. The same fucking year. And then a couple years later, war. So LA is what really got the funk out of just one person's hands. And then you got to go to Memphis. After that, you got to go to Mr. Bobby Rush, who I interviewed. If you go on my Incense and Ashtrays Spotify channel, you'll hear two great interviews I did with Bobby Rush, him and Isaac Hayes. Then the late 60s, 69, when his song he had called Chicken Heads, Mr. by Bobby Rush, and the song Hyperbolic by Isaac Hayes. So, before we even get to the South, before we get to Ohio, before we get to New York, you got to stop in California for the funk to grow. War was a funk band when the Ohio Players were still playing jazz, when Funkadelic was still playing heavy metal. This people don't realize. But the West Coast, we don't brag. We had Sly and the Family Stone in the Bay and War going to the top. Remember, War is who inspired Bob Marley. Bob Marley said a lot of his sound come from listening to War. That's Funkadelic was still doing heavy metal, and the Ohio Players were still doing jazz, and the Bar-Kays were still playing 60s more doo-wop style. They weren't a funk band yet. That shit happened after LA popped it off. But I don't get into all that shit because it's only one common bond, Black American. So what the fuck I look like going around swinging my LA dick when it ain't about LA, it's about black. Sometimes it's black in Memphis, sometimes it's black in Philly. Philly had their time in the sun preserving neo soul from 95 to 2003, which was the bridge that got us to Anderson .Paak in the soul that he creates. Corey Henry. Oh, and his other brother named Brandon Williams out of Detroit. He just dropped a new album this past Friday. His brother named Brandon Williams out of Detroit. His first album, I think, was his best. It dropped like in 2013. His second album dropped in 2019. That shit was dope. And his third album just dropped this past Friday. Preserving live music and a live sound. But that bridge was provided to us through Philadelphia. So every city where black people are played a major role in our sound developing to where it is. And until we get to that cultural point of view, other groups are going to be able to nick and pick and take and grab and steal and morph and warp our culture if we keep segmenting this shit. That's the lesson we got to learn from this shit. When we segmented hip hop off into some derivative form that came out of New York, it put it out there for vultures. So if we keep saying, well, that's the South, you know what's going to come next? Well, in the South, there were Haitian immigrants, and there were immigrants from that were Creole and they were French, and yeah, the South also had across. That's where a lot of those people come from, the Cameroon region and the Senegal region of Africa. The people in the South, and that's what's coming next. If you keep all this segregation shit, the common bond is Black American. That's why it's bigger than hip hop.
Real talk. That's the culture. That's one last thing. I'm gonna land my plane. I'm out of here. A lot of black people forget that during the 80s, black people still couldn't stay in hotels. So I had situations where my mom would make me and my brothers, set up the living room, and we had to vacate our rooms, and we had to move into the basement, me and my brothers, because my mother had times with, like you said, with Bobby Rush. She would have Bobby Rush, the Mighty Clouds of Joy, Marcia Griffiths. She would have all these different black people come to our house because they had to do shows in New York. But you couldn't really stay still in hotels in like 85 and 86. We were little kids, me and my brothers, but we would have to move this stuff, move the furniture, so my mama could have all these people come and stay in our house. A lot of people forget that. A lot of black people were still interacting with the local community wherever you went at that time. And so, and also for me, growing up, we had to you had to know your today's mathematics, because those 5%ers would get you. If you did not know your mathematics, you might get got. So all that type of stuff was going on my side of the block in New York. So we didn't never like fall into the wayside of the goofies. We had to stay on our square, because you might get boxed down if those 5%ers catch you and you don't know what today's mathematics is.
Or if they caught your ass eating some pork.
And let me say something, y'all. That part has always infatuated me about New York. The whole 5% is whooping your ass if you didn't know something. It's something about that warms my heart and brings me joy. Like, that was not part of LA culture. We did not deal with, like, it was not that serious out here. We LA, we so goddamn relaxed with everything. We were like, what the fuck ever. But when I heard y'all was whooping niggas' asses for not having the knowledge, I think I died a couple times. I love
No, no cap, and they were brolic too. These weren't little brothers. These were brolic brothers that would run up on you like, "Yo, what's today's mathematics?" And if your ass didn't know, you might lose your hearing in one of your ears if you get smacked that day.
Hey, Breeze, I swear I found this information out in the last 10 years online, like through YouTube and like listening to people on Sodnetter's channel. I was listening to Sodnetter's channel one day. I was at work. I used to have a job where I work from home and I would do my progress notes working from home. I'm smoking a blunt at work, listening to Sodnetter. And some dude's like, yeah, man, we had to whoop his ass because he didn't know the mathematics. And I stopped. I was like, hold on. And I rewound that shit. I was like, hold on. Then I was me being the asshole I am, joking around. I went on Twitter. I was like, New Yorkers was whooping ass over not knowing the mathematics, and a whole bunch of people replied. It was like, yeah, nigga, you didn't know? I was like, nah, nigga, nah, I'm from LA. Like, I don't take nothing that serious. Now I take it back. The gang banging niggas. I laugh when I found out they get DP. Like in LA, if what I remember, I was in a club one night. And this is because I hear a lot of the gangs, the former your OGs, to get out the streets, they flip whatever that street money they hustles they had into promotions and shit like that, being promoters. And so like they would have their nights on like Friday night. They at this particular club, they'd allow a couple of their grimy niggas out. But for the most part, they didn't let their grimy niggas come to Hollywood, especially on the Sunday night shindigs. The Sunday through Wednesday in LA, that's industry nights. Weirdos can't come out on those nights. Like regular people who get drunk, you niggas go party on Friday and Saturday out here. Like anything Sunday through Wednesday, you better know how to behave yourself in LA. And so one nigga started a fight is at Basque on Monday night. That was on Hollywood and Vine at the time. It got burned down a few months later. But this is a bar that used to have like a cage and women behind these glass the glass. And on Black Night they had black women back there, all the cakes, and it was a dope ass night. But this nigga started a fight in the night, and it was a bad night. We had to shut the club down. So when we came back the next week, I'm out there and I see the homie. I'm like, what's up, dog? Where been with old boy? They was like, man, we had to whoop his ass. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, with the DP that nigga, man. You can't be coming to Hollywood fucking up our bread, nigga. Nigga, that ain't the nigga was like, man, that ain't no gangster shit. That nigga go sock out a regular old lame ass nigga overstepping on the shoes, man. We can't have that kind of behavior. Nigga, do you know how I died on the inside to hear a Rolling 60 Crip say, we can't have that kind of behavior? Nigga. I laugh so goddamn hard. But it goes to show you, like, we as a people, and this is something I'm gonna say, that I'm gonna get to whoever want to speak next, and I want somebody new. If somebody want to speak, come on up here. I'm gonna close this room out in a few minutes because I got a show to get to in a little bit. But one thing about us as a people, all that shooting and shit, that came at the tail end of drugs, man. Naturally, that's really not who we are. It might one or two niggas. We a whoop ass group of people. Niggas like hand to hand combat. How many times have you been sitting with your uncle or your auntie and they be like, man, that nigga need his ass whooped? Everything in Black America come back to an ass whooping. Am I lying? Niggas from the East Coast, South, come on, bruh. Am I lying? If you just listen to Black people, just sit back and listen to Black people talk. A story about an ass whooping is coming. Niggas,
No cap detected.
nigga, we a whoop ass. We respect hand to hand, face to face combat. That's what we respect as a people, you know, and because that's who we are. And so, all that gun shit that came with that poison that they called them poison ass drugs. And then also a bunch of immigrants getting flooded. When Tariq made that point about the Belizeans here in LA, I thought about that because I grew up in BPS hood, and most of them BPS niggas from the jungles was Belizeans. And when he said that, like, yeah, that's true. Not putting everything on them, but it's a combination of a fucking drug epidemic and goddamn people coming in who ain't us. Culturally, we a shit talking ass group of people who the only thing we want to do is whoop your ass and get back to loving on you. That thing from Harlem Nights is so black. Between Eddie Murphy had great cultural movies. If you study a lot of Eddie Murphy movies from an anthropological point of view, you'll see a lot of cultural nuances within our society, especially everything from Harlem Nights on. Harlem Nights, that run he had from Harlem Nights through Life, all those movies in between. If you really want to study Black culture and different nuances within Black culture that aren't talked about on a mass societal level, Boomerang, Distinguished Gentleman, Life, these are all. Harlem Nights is a great one to really just study how he really behave. And in the whole movie, what did she say? I'm gonna whoop your ass, and I don't want no hard feelings. Black people, that's who the fuck we are when we not poisoned by drugs. And it goes in our music. Our music is shit talk. The blues is just talking shit. Listen to BB King. That nigga got a song said, "Don't nobody love me but my mama, and she could be jiving too." Nigga, they some shit talking ass niggas.
Eddie
And
Murphy was from Long Island. Once again, another brother from Long Island. Rakim, all these brothers were from Long Island.
he black. That's where he from. He black.
Yeah, and it was blackness. You correct, blackness.
He black. There's Chappelle from DC. He's a genius too, but he black. Everybody got one. We all got one. Cause we black. We need to brag at that. We got 5 legends for every city. For anybody else, okay, you want to be black? All right, show me your 5 legends, not from your country, but from your city. I can give you 5 from New York. I can give you 10 from New York. I can give you 7 from Charlotte. I can give you 5 from Fayetteville, North Carolina. That little ass
Let's
city.
go.
I can give you 10 from St. Louis. I can give you 30 from Chicago. Nigga, I'm expanding the conversation. That's what the fuck I'm here to do. I'm not we plowing new trails here. We ain't about to go down the same roads. We're expanding the conversation. We're taking niggas into deep water. No, nigga, they black. And if you, okay, you say we black too? All right, show me 5 legends from Lagos. Not all of Nigeria, just the city of Lagos in Nigeria. Just that one city. Show me 5 legends that changed the world. I can give you 5 from DC, starting with Marvin Gaye, Martin Lawrence, in the comedy side of the game. I can go to small. That's where we gotta go with this shit. And I'm coming from somebody, and that's coming from me. I'm from LA. We have no shortage of legends to brag about being from here. No shortage across music genres, acting, music, sports, hell, especially the NBA. All them NBA MVPs, Finals MVPs, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Russell Westbrook from LA. My in-laws, the Ball brothers. Pardon me, most people don't know the LeVar Ball. That's my brother-in-law's. That's my brother-in-law's brother. Like that's my sister's husband's family. Like, nigga, we got no shortage of people doing it big in LA to brag about. But it ain't about LA. It's about black. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. And that's my whole point of view when it come down to this whole thing. But go back to the Eddie Murphy movie point of view. Eddie Murphy movies, when you go back to Harlem Nights and stuff like that, we a shit talking culture. Rap, the whole battle, when you're listening to rap, the song "Paid the Cost to Be the Boss." BB King got a song called "Paid the Cost to Be the Boss." Ice Cube got a song. Snoop got a song talking about it. That's some black American shit talking. Nigga, how many times we heard granddaddy tell, or your uncle tell Aunt Mabel, I paid the cost to be the boss. Mabel, I'm gonna play my spades and you shut up. And he get to talking shit in front of us, but then be like, I'm sorry now. I'm sorry, Miss Mabel. I'm sorry, Miss Mabel. We seen this cultural shit. I'm from LA, nigga, and I ain't one of these new LA niggas. My family came out here in the 1930s. We late 1920s actually. My family been in LA for damn near 100 years. I ain't some nigga that relocated in the 60s. But I still share a common bond with y'all. My stories are your stories, aren't they? Miriam's in St. Louis. Her stories are my stories.
East
Breeze and
St.
Philly, East St. Louis, yeah, the Illinois side. My bad. My bad. Different state.
Illinois, yes.
But Breeze, Eraser Bow, y'all from New York. But our stories are the same. I don't give a fuck. Our stories are all the same because we Black American. But if they come around talking about something, if you see somebody that don't know a line from Lean On Me, if they don't know who Sam's is, if I walk into a room and I say Sam's and you don't know who I'm talking about, nigga, then you ain't one of us. Get out of here. You ain't one of us. Everybody know who the fuck Sam's is. Nigga, everybody before Bye Felicia became Bye Felicia actually got Black Americans don't even like the term Bye Felicia anymore because y'all took it and fucking fucked it up 5 years ago. Before 3 or 4 years ago, before 5 years ago, everybody knew what Bye Felicia meant. Then somehow in the last 5 years, white folks and other people got a hell of it. Now we don't want to say that shit no more. The common denominator is black. The culture is bigger than hip hop. It's Black American. Whether it be expressed through hip hop, rhythm and blues, funk, heavy metal, country western, it's black. I'm gonna let y'all say what y'all gotta say. Breeze, Miriam said you gotta say, then we gonna close it out.
Thank you for that, Brother Dwan. Boy, I wanted to get in, but you guys were having a tag team, and I love to see black men building. You know, you're so correct. When you talking about black culture, it's just nuances that we share. We have things that make us unique, but then there's the overall unspoken, unseen nuances that ties us all together. Just like, you said name 5 greats from your city. Jackie Joyner Kersee, which is a Olympian. Don Harper, another Olympian. Miles Davis, a world-renowned musician and songwriter and producer. Then we have Cheryl Brown, who is another soul singer, R&B soul singer. Then we have A.G. Bush, who is he played for the Sox. I went to high school with him, so baseball player. So yeah, I mean, let's go. We can name 5 greats from our cities when they can't even name 2 in their whole countries. And we must gatekeep. We have to gatekeep at all costs because that is our protection. That is our buffer. That is how we keep our identity in our culture, our religion, our spirituality, our wealth, and our worth. No other people have a problem with protecting who they are. They only have an issue when we decide to. Why? Because everybody has sat at the trough or at the table and have eaten from our fruits and um, of the labor of our fruits and gotten fat and entitled and think that that is the way they going to keep going. Not with this, starting with Generation X on through. We not having it. We don't play those games. And even some of our elders that was from the civil rights movement, they fought and few in between because right. What's the saying? Those old ninjas are the ones who dropped the ball and sold us off for sexual inclusion. So, but when you get to talking about it's a black thing, you better believe it. From the south to the west to the east to the from the south to the north to the east to the west, you better believe it. Who's the best? We all are, and we can feel it in our chest because we're blessed, and we have no problem with stating that. You're supposed to show pride. You should. You supposed to show love, and in it and what we do, and how we do it, and from whatever region. But the thing is, you don't try to exclude um someone else from their region because we are all a great and we all pour into this one thing that is our culture, that is for our lineage, and that will preserve and move forth our legacy. And we have to protect it against these interlopers and these vultures and these, I call them culture hawks, because vultures mess with damn near dead or either corpse. Hawks swoop in and take something right off your dinner plate. Hell, will swoop in and take you if you don't protect yourself. As they say, protect your neck. So we have to do what it do. Down being in Illinois, being in the southern, we the east, southern, west. We sit at an angle tip of Illinois, and when I tell you, we embrace all what we have to give as a culture from the west coast to the east coast, from the north to the south. Man, I love the sound of Philly, Ohio. I love the sound of Minnesota, which is often underplayed. We wouldn't have Petty LaBelle, we wouldn't have Prince, we wouldn't have the time. Terry Lewis and Jam, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. So they did contribute a lot. I love the sounds of Philly because, like you said, no one played the strings and can quite pull together like the orchestrated sounds or the orchestra sounds of like what Philly did, the deep soul of it, and then keeping living and brought even a new genre that's not so new, but a new curve or touch to it, which is neo soul. So we are so responsible. And then, of course, you get into Illinois when you're dealing with blues and jazz and R&B on a whole nother level too, and breathing that funk and breathing that jazz and bringing some of the nuances of what our culture is. And then also Kansas City, Missouri contribute also to blues and some jazz. And we have our beautiful artists like Norman Brown and some of our new ones, and I can't not ever not mention Patricia Rush, and like you said, Isaac Hayes, Barry White. I mean, these are the greats, Melvin and the Blue Notes, the Stylistics, the Shylights.
It's a whole lot of
We
them.
could go on and on. You hear me? We would be
Yeah,
here all
yeah.
day. So hats off to you, brother Dewan B. Again, I would definitely be supporting. It's bigger than hip hop. I would definitely want to shout out our other brother Tariq Nasheed, because it's microphone check time. I will be supporting both of you wonderful, brilliant brothers. You are pillars in our community. You bring forth the knowledge, and I have nothing but love and respect for you, and I will go to war over you. Why? Because you true to this. Y'all are true grassroots. You represent truth, honesty, revealing our culture, touching back, and making us whole as a people, and I love that. Peace and love.
Much appreciated, Miriam. Much appreciated. Yeah, we can never give up Kansas City. Critical to bebop, critical to swing, and critical to the blues. Very critical. Can't forget them. Breeze, you got something you want to say before we get out of here?
I just wanted to say once again, as our sister Miriam just said, I just want to segue on her. You and Tariq are doing something that like I said, to me, this shit is gonna get everything straight, because this is stuff I was talking about for years and I wasn't really certain how to go about it. But seeing how y'all put this on the plate, it's definitely a template for most of us to look at how we are supposed to move and set ourselves up when we're dealing with the system of white supremacy that's always trying to erase us. And we didn't think this was a real threat. Maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, we still didn't believe it was a threat. But like I said, you and brother Tariq, y'all was on the ball from day one. And I just want to say, brother, like that shit sparked a whole lot in us. And seeing what y'all doing has motivated me and motivated a lot of brothers. Because as I'm looking on YouTube today, I see a lot of brothers who are on code and are starting to talk about this thing about us making sure. And I want them to all, because I'm going to send a message to a lot of people tonight. As what you said, it's black. Because I made the mistake and said Long Island, but it's black. It's always been black. You know what I mean? Our skin is our uniform. We've always been performing like, as Neely Fuller Jr. said, as um, paratroopers caught behind enemy lines. We've always been operating that way. That's why we've been able to make and come up when other groups sit around and they're looking for help from others, but they want to talk trash about us. But we pull ourselves up. We the only group to really pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. And everything we did has been solidified and certified because that's what we are. Black people know how to get it done. And you should never be afraid to say black first. And we should always be B1. And we need to stand on that, stand 10 toes down on our square. And like I said, brother, I appreciate what you're doing. I'm going to be there when you got that joint popping off. And for Tariq, too, I'm going to be there. And y'all brothers is doing what's right. Now, I need to find some of our other brothers on New York. Y'all need to come bring the same type of heat, this same type of flame. Those of us who, because I'm now in the mid-Atlantic, and I'm working on things out here right now in the Maryland area with people that I'm talking to, especially with my brothers who do go-go, because I see
Yeah.
there's already interest in trying to change where go-go came from. So that's a real weird thing that I
Yeah.
started noticing recently. And I'm gonna land my plane.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm at the got here a little bit, but yeah, what he said was true. What we need, I'm from LA. I can speak about it from my point of view. We need people from Memphis to document that rich history and how it ties in the rest of Black America. We need people from St. Louis, people from Kansas City, people from New York. It'd be great if somebody from New York would drop some heat on hip hop and its Black American roots and where it comes from. It would be great if somebody from Chicago dropped a documentary on house music and its roots in Detroit. Great if somebody from Philly dropped documentaries not only on neo soul but also on the sound of soul music from uh, going back to the Philly sound days and before that. We need people from everywhere dropping information that's Black about the greatness within their city and how they got it done, from a musical aspect, from a cultural aspect, sports, science, mathematics, whatever it is we did great. We need people documenting this shit, talking about it, and having a whole genre of films documenting the greatness from multiple cultural aspects. Um, and I definitely, I go to DwannB.com. It's in the Jumbotron. 2 weeks from today is my live stream pay-per-view premiere. The pay-per-view premiere is a fundraiser to document a full series on why Black American culture is bigger than hip hop. You're gonna see the documentary and get bonus footage. You're gonna see the extended version of it. And when you see the extended version, we're also gonna have a live Q&A with me and the director. And I'm gonna have some surprise guests coming on too for the Q&A too. In the documentary, I got some people coming out that's gonna be that's already signed on and ready to do the full length documentary. Some big names, all the good stuff, the bells and the whistles that people like. But what's most about it is information. We got to understand that our influence is bigger than one sound, one region, one city, one group of people. No. This shit's nationwide, worldwide. That's what this is. Shit. I got this nigga Larry just came up in here. I was about to sign out. But hey Larry, accept the mic. Then I'll sign out after you accept the mic.
Brother Dwan B, if I may.
Hold on 1 second. Larry, do you even know how to accept the mic, nigga? CC. Okay. All right, I'll go like 10 more minutes. Because I do got a show at 4 o'clock. But I see CC in here also. I definitely want you to speak. But
I'm
if
gonna
it's
get off
quick,
real
Miriam,
quick. Hey, Sister Miriam,
make it
you still
Breeze,
got me on
Miriam.
pending.
Hey, Breeze, Miriam, if y'all got make sure it's real quick, all right? Go ahead.
Oh no, I just wanted to say Sister Miriam still got me on pending. And yeah, I'm a real person, Sister Miriam, and I'm here. And if you could just go ahead and accept my follow for you, that's all,
Accept
sister.
this follow request,
And I'm
Miriam.
out.
Miriam, if it's real quick, go ahead.
Yeah, I will. I will do that. I just haven't looked on there yet. I will do that. And shout out to my beautiful sister CC in the house, and my other beautiful sister Miss Eddings is in the house. Shout out to you and International Show Off. Peace.
All right, go ahead, CC.
Hi, Dwan.
What's up? How's it going?
It's good. Peace, love, and reparations to you in the space. I just came up to congratulate you. I also heard you have some events that are going to be popping off here in LA with Tashina. So you know I'm going to be there. And then I heard you shouting out Big Head Larry. So I thought he was coming on stage. So, you
I
know,
see that. I don't think his dumb ass know how to work Twitter.
oh no, I was ready to come up here and just get a couple of my cornball jokes off on Larry. But anyway, for real, I'm so excited for this documentary. Thank you for doing it. You're the best. You're awesome. If you guys ever get a chance to meet Dwan B in real life, it's such a pleasure. This man has he's an intellect. He's a vibe. He's very spiritual. He's one of the kindest, warmest humans you're ever going to meet. And he's funny. And he's like a music scholar. So, peace, love, and reparations to you, Dwan. I support everything that you do.
That's much appreciated. I'm glad you reminded me to announce that. Yeah, November 8th, if you're in LA, it's going to be November 8th, November 22nd. Then starting in December, it's going to be, and from on out, every first and third Wednesdays, me and Tashina Arnold, we're going to have a new show, a special show planned out for y'all. Every show is going to be surprise. People, you're going to look up on Instagram on Thursday morning, like, how the fuck did Dwan get that person to come down to do the show? It's like that, but we ain't gonna announce who's gonna be there. You know, and not just me, really Tashina. Tashina's a legend. So imagine imagine Pam from Martin asking somebody that got their first hit 25 years ago, which was still after we knew who the fuck she was. Imagine her saying, "Hey, can you come do my night real quick?" You think they gonna say no? So you never know who's gonna show up. Same thing on the comedy tip. I know all the comics and all the best comics live here in LA. So you might get legendary comics on the same night as legendary singers, on the same night as legendary musicians. But what you will get every week is me, and you'll get T and her good singing. She can sing her ass off. And then we're gonna get we're gonna have some of the hottest singers that are signed and unsigned, people you haven't heard of that's making their way up in music, but they already dope. See, a lot of times people be thinking, oh, they don't want to hear somebody till after they had their first 10 hits. Now, the singers you want to hear are the ones who ain't got them hits yet, but they are a whole vibe. They can sing their asses off. We're gonna be showcasing those singers every night. And we also gonna be showcasing local musicians that is dope as fuck, that have toured with the greatest. My guitar player I have coming up to the next show, this motherfucker, he done toured with everybody. I think he just got, yeah, he toured with like J. Cole and all them motherfuckers. That's what we got coming. So that link is gonna be in the bio pretty soon. I think it's in the jumbotron right now. It's called Music every first and third Wednesdays to go along with the documentary. So yeah, this is a whole thing, man. It ain't just online. This is a movement we're making holistically. All right. I appreciate y'all. This will be up on my YouTube channel. I appreciate you, New Black Media Archive. Always looking out. This will be up on YouTube sometime later on. All right. Remember, like I always say, there are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game. I'm out.